Congrats. That's so exciting. I'm so happy for you and your family that you're home.
Made it.
Yay. That's great news.
Yeah. My
Very
wife
good.
rearranged the bedroom to try to create me a little office over here. I don't have the same wonderful background as before, but what are you gonna do?
That's okay. I'm sure you'd rather be home. So that's awesome. Good for you.
Yay!
Yeah. Very good.
So what's going on? How's everything?
Good. I've just been keeping busy, which is great. I've just been working on some things and, just trying to pivot and adjust and keep going. So it's all good. There's always silver linings, right?
Yeah, always. Always. Like I was like, oh, am I gonna have fun with this 40 hours of travel?
Is that what it was? 40 hours?
40 hours, 8 airports, 6 flights, 3 hours of sleep, and I'm still this beautiful.
When did you get back? Did you just get back or?
Last Friday.
Okay.
I don't know what day it is today. A week ago. A week
A
ago.
week ago today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Hopefully you've had time to catch up and rest a little and spend some good quality family time. And that is one crazy travel schedule though. And I'm used to traveling around the US a lot, but not that. I've never done that. So I can't even begin to feel your pain for that.
But you need to. You need to get overseas and see stuff. Highly recommend going to the Middle East.
That would be interesting. I would love to. I would love to travel more. I mean, we were supposed to go. My middle child is graduated high school this year, and we were supposed to take the family to London and Paris. Not that that's the Middle East, of course, but it was going to be the first time our whole family like traveled to Europe together, which
Mhm.
is all five of us. So that was going to be an adventure, but obviously no adventure. So
Yeah, it's not
hopefully,
cheap.
yeah, no, not cheap, and definitely not during a pandemic. So yeah, not this year.
Yeah, we they flew out for Christmas and New Year's to Christmas in Bahrain and New Year's in Dubai.
Oh,
We
that's
burned
cool.
about 14 grand doing that.
Wow. Yeah,
Worth it.
that's yeah, but it is. I mean, you had somewhere for them to stay there, so that was helpful too. So,
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
how are you doing? How's the podcast going? How's all your other stuff going? I know last time, like when we kind of ended our conversation, I like shared with you like I was working on this like cohort, this training cohort. You said you were kind of doing the same thing, and I'm just getting ready to launch that. So I wanted to get your feedback. Like how are things? Are you doing any like fun things like that? And
It was going slowly. I found out with like 5 days notice that I was leaving. So I
mm,
had to quick get rid of my apartment, do all the checkout stuff, make sure I could travel internationally, all this stuff, get my final eval, fit rep and award, and all these things. The
yeah,
military, as you do, get all your medical records and all that stuff, and then get out of there. And I was surprised I got it all done. And
yeah.
this week I've just been playing catch up. I haven't really, like when we're done here, I need to promote this week's podcast that came out 3 days ago because I just haven't had a chance to do it yet. But
That's,
I'm getting there
okay,
slowly
cool,
but surely. I got
good,
my call after this is to talk about our mastermind that we're working on building.
good. That's good.
Yep.
And you said too when we spoke last that you did like a book project, like a collaborative book project, like
Mhm.
like when you first started to talk about the military. And you said that was
Yes.
really helpful and really successful for you. So I'm doing something similar. So I'm just curious like how that played out for you.
What do you mean?
You said you wrote a chapter in a book,
Mhm.
right?
Yep. Yep.
So I'm doing the same thing. I'm writing a chapter in a book that will be, I think, launched at the end of July, with like a group of women.
Hmm.
So it's to talk about success secrets of 15 women around the world. And, I think it's cool because like, I don't want to write a whole book. I don't, I just,
Are you all?
writing the
Can
chapter was
you
enough.
can people pre-order that book right now?
No, I don't think so.
Why
No,
not?
I don't know. I know the name of it, but I don't think they can pre-order it.
That's one of the secrets to launching a successful book is you have a fake book with the cover art, right? And there's graphic
Yeah.
programs that do that for you. And then you don't launch the book till you hit X amount of sales. So when you launch
Ah.
the book, you launch it at number one.
Well, I think that that's what's planned, but like probably not till the end of July. So everyone's just getting in their chapters this week. And so I just finished my chapter and like I'm sending my chapter out for like people to review it so I can get people to review it and say if they like it or not. And um yeah, so I'm just you had mentioned you did that. So I was
Mhm.
just curious like, how that was for you and
I mean, I
if it
had a
was
lot of fun with it. We did a couple of book signings, got really
yeah,
good feedback. People like my story quite a bit. Yeah, it's
awesome.
good.
Yeah, and that's all I'm trying to do is just kind of share a little journey of my own personal like kind of what sounded like what you did as well and give some call to action success secrets on you know different ways to find success along your journey
Yeah.
so
Are
that's that.
you are you having a call to action in your chapter? Ways to connect
Hmm.
with you, all that stuff?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of it's now called Clifton Strengths. I think a couple years back it was called Clifton Strength Finders. It's a assessment by Gallup, the Gallup organization.
Okay.
And so I took that in 2017 and it tells you your top 5 strengths. And then if you want, you can unlist like your top 10 and it goes all the way to 34. And it's really helpful in kind of recognizing what you're good at. And it tells you and defines each strength and, different things that you can do to practice your strengths every day. And
Oh yeah.
I just found that really inspiring, and so that's kind of really what my chapter was about. It's just like how I learned and understood my strengths, and I use them to really catapult to my success. So I think my call to action is more of like um, my title is called "My Strengths Are My Superpower." So, oh, there it is.
It's
That's
amazing when I
nice.
have my stuff.
Yeah, look at that. I love the cover too. That's really awesome.
Oh yeah. And in here somewhere is the chapter I wrote. I don't remember the heck it is though.
I remember you said you wrote it like one morning. You just like sat down and wrote it.
2 hours. There
Yeah.
we go. There it
Oh,
is.
great. Yeah, it took me way more than 2 hours.
Well, I mean, this story, my story has been something that obviously I lived, but that I had been thinking and ruminating about for a long time. So, I mean, I already had it. It was already written, right? I
Yeah.
just had to hit the keys on the keyboard. Much different.
Yeah.
I had to go through my bookshelf. I think I've got like 300 books in here. I had to
Wow.
start trimming it down or getting a better better way to organize and store them because this thing is it's pretty much wore out by now.
Oh. Well, hey, I mean, they're good reference, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, yep. Keep the references and pass the rest along.
Yeah. Well, cool. That's exciting. I'm glad to hear that because I'm kind of excited about the book too, and just kind of going through all the processes now, like turning it in and getting the reviews, and I'm sure there'll be some sort of like what you said, like a launch and
Mhm.
like pre-sale and all of that stuff.
Well, if it's at the end of July, you already should have been doing it.
Mm. Well,
Is
I'm
there
just
a
along for the
is there a
journey.
fanner or something on, or is that on my side?
I mean, I feel like my computer has like it's just normal.
Is there like a static?
I remember you asked that last time, and so I don't know. Is it me? Is it my computer? Maybe like I'm on my computer audio. I don't have like a separate mic or anything. Maybe it's my computer audio. Maybe it's just too loud. Turn it down a little. Is it still there?
Yeah. Hmm. You have any other like electronics on in the room?
No. Mm-mm.
Is there a window open, a fan blowing?
The fan is on. It's like going at like a super slow rate. Trying to turn it off. I mean, my daughter's next door and she's on her electronics. She's using the internet. I feel like I'm going to need to get like a microphone kit or something besides
Yeah.
just using my computer. Yeah. Yep. I think I'm going to need that, especially like teaching and doing this like training and cohort for 4 weeks.
Yeah. Audio quality and video quality are very helpful. Like I've got a big, actually, probably see it if I do this right. I've got a big, see that shine? I've got an external light behind my computer.
Yeah, I'm just sitting by a window. I don't have any light, just the window light.
Yours looks good though. Your setup looks good. I don't know if you need external light. I'm in a dungeon.
Are
My
you?
wife doesn't let me out of the basement, you know.
Well, I'm worried about the sound. I don't know what to do about that.
I don't know. The only way we would know is if we knew the source of it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, again, like I hear the computer fan running, you know?
Oh, that's it. That's the computer fan. Is your computer on the desk?
It's on like a prop on the desk.
Or is there a gap between your computer? Yeah, I'm hearing the computer run.
Yeah.
Do you have like coasters you can prop it up on?
It's on boxes. It literally is like on, maybe that's why you're hearing it, because it's not on the desk. I've got it propped on like 3 little boxes. So it's like eye level.
But is there space under the computer?
No.
Is it on a flat surface?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can put it on 2 boxes, but leave it open underneath.
Leave it. Okay.
And then it's probably time to get a solid state computer where you're not having a fan.
Yeah.
That's not
True.
cheap.
I did say like to my husband the other day, I was like, I kind of want a new computer. He's like, it's not that old. And I'm like, whoop. I think it's a 2016. So I do think it's old. I don't think that's going to make a difference, honestly. I think the fan is just really loud.
Well, I can't hear anything.
Oh, now you don't?
Nope.
Oh. Is that better?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
All right. So last time we talked about Best Buddies International and then Etavele Solutions.
Yes, Etavele Solutions. That is the name of my business, my consultant firm.
Mm-hmm. You raised $5 million. And then I don't remember this. If it was this Best Buddies with the 22 state expansion you're looking into or did?
That's what I did with Best Buddies. Yes. So I was the national director of expansion and mission advancement for Best Buddies, and my portfolio was 22 states. And so I went into those states and basically full grassroots efforts, built volunteer movements, advisory boards, events, programs, increased the mission, raised revenue, and opened offices.
Nice. I just talked to someone this morning that could use your particular brand of skills.
Awesome. I would love that. Yeah, because that's really, and I do promote that with Etavele. I mean, obviously, it's fundraising consultancy, it's event. I created this event for Best Buddies and enhanced it. Well, they had been using it in some other states, and I enhanced it a little bit. I enhanced the model of it. And in 2014, we did this event in 3 cities, and it raised about $300,000 collectively that year. And then we built some teams across the country. I trained everyone on it. And by 2019, we had the same event in 32 cities, and it raised collectively $4.9 million just on that one event. So it was, that's cool. So I love events, and that's why also I got licensed as an auctioneer. And so I can help with events and MC and auctioneer events for nonprofits. But I also really enjoy the new market expansion initiative. I think it's great when nonprofits grow and they want to expand their mission and really just start from the ground up. And who was it that you spoke to?
Spoke to Jennifer Scott. She's started Choice Community Living. It's for people with disabilities aging out of the high school system to have somewhere to go and something to do. That's right in line with what you did.
Yeah, right. And Best Buddies, I mean, they're still doing that. So they have what they call a citizens program. And so that is for adults in the community to create one-to-one friendships. So it would be a person with an intellectual or developmental disability and a person without, and they're matched in a genuine friendship.
See, this is why I like talking to you.
Oh, well, that's good. I love that. Yeah, I mean, I love that mission. I always, like, regardless, as soon as I said to Best Buddies, like, I really want to be able to help a lot of organizations have events and raise funds and really elevate their organization. But I don't think I could ever really leave the mission of Best Buddies because I'm really super passionate about it. I've been a volunteer for 20 years. So I was only employed for 6, but I've been a volunteer for so long. So it's very near and dear to my heart.
That's good.
Yeah.
So you ready to kick this thing off and see where the discussion takes us?
I guess so, yeah.
I'm going to talk about both Best Buddies and Etavele Solutions and what you provide and why it matters and what you do.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect. Yeah, let's give it a shot. Should I mention, can I mention with Etavele, or should I, the nonprofit cohort, training cohort that we're putting together to help nonprofits? This first one, the first session that we're doing is called Virtual or Bust. So it's a 4-week collaborative training and cohort, bringing in nonprofit professionals from around the country. And we're really going to focus on engaging your mission virtually, doing transition of events from in-person to virtual. We're also going to talk about steering the virtual ships, relationships, sponsorships, corporate partnerships, stewardship, and then just, overall fundraising in a virtual world, like the different ways that you can fundraise virtually. So I don't know, is that something that sounds good?
Yep.
Okay. And we'll get started.
Sweet. This is Travis Johnson, the nonprofit architect, here today with Vallye Adams. Vallye, how you doing today?
Great, Travis. Thanks so much. How are you?
Man, I'm doing fabulous. I'm here on location in my house in Oklahoma City. So excited to be back in the U.S. Unless you watch the news, and apparently this is the worst place on earth. But what can you do except for love yourself and love your neighbor? Hop on over to nonprofitarchitect.org. Check out our shows. Connect with our guests. Connect with me. Reach out to me if you're looking for coaching or something more specific. We've got mastermind projects underway that we're working on building right now. Connect with other nonprofits, roundtable some discussions, get some good valid learning. hop on over there, see what's going on. Join our Facebook community at facebook.com/groups/nonprofit architect. Vallye is the head of Etavele Solutions and was a long time national director of expansion for Best Buddies International. Could you tell us about those projects?
Sure, happy to. I have been a volunteer for Best Buddies International for over 20 years. It's an incredible global nonprofit designed to create one-to-one friendships, leadership development, integrated employment, and inclusive living for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. It is a global nonprofit. They're in 54 countries around the world, and their presence is now in every state here in the US. And I was incredibly proud to work for them for 6 years and finish my role as an employee as the National Director of Expansion and Mission Advancement, which had me traveling to 22 states around the US and really growing the mission of friendship and inclusion for individuals with and without IDD, which is intellectual and developmental disabilities, in 22 states. So that was great. It was an amazing project that I worked on. We were able to obviously grow the mission, grassroots efforts, start from the ground up, and just really create a global volunteer movement and the volunteer movement in those states to help bring the mission of friendship and inclusion to those states. Had great events, grew advisory boards, increased programs, and really just focused on creating social inclusion for people with disabilities. It was awesome. And so with that success, I decided to help many organizations. I wanted to branch out, be a female entrepreneur, and start my own consulting firm and still work nationally. I'm currently working still across the country with, of course, Best Buddies. They're my first and best client. And I'm working with other organizations too around the US and even in Canada now to help elevate their fundraising initiatives, enhance their events, and really engage their boards. And so that was the whole concept of Etavele Solutions, which Etavele is actually elevate spelled backwards. So I wanted to be really creative with that and explain to people, if you look at things a little differently, you can definitely see that Etavele Solutions will help you enhance your fundraising, engage your boards, and just elevate your organization as a nonprofit. So.
That's perfect. I love the progression. You go from having the desire to help and volunteering to actually becoming the national director of expansion, and then branching out even further to help more organizations be successful at what they're passionate about. And that's kind of like my story that everyone that listens to the show knows and loves so well. It is wonderful to see how that progression goes. But how did you? What does it look like to expand to a new state? Is there like new laws and requirements you have to follow? Do you have to file as a nonprofit in the new state when you move in? How does that work? What does that look like?
It depends on where your home office is based out of, and if it's one basic 501(c) blanket, or if you're going to have individual 501(c)s in each state. Best Buddies has one global 501(c), and we do file the licenses in the state. But for me, my role was going in and really just raising awareness and opening the door to the mission and finding people that connected with the mission and wanted to create and grow this volunteer movement. So it really was fully grassroots efforts of going into a state, finding a few people, talking to them, sharing the mission. Obviously, with this mission in particular, the connection is someone with or knows a family member with an intellectual and developmental disability, and connecting the dots for them and hearing the sad stories and the loneliness that exists in the population of those with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And what they truly want is friendships, and what they truly need is to be included into society. And they also want jobs. They have incredible talents and abilities, and they not only deserve friendships and deserve to be included, but they want to be out into society and work alongside all of us and get a paycheck and have that experience to be able to share their gifts and talents. So going in and sharing this mission, quite honestly, it was such a positive experience. And it still is. I'm working with Best Buddies this year. I'm working with them in Louisiana, Oklahoma, Kentucky, and really working on fostering and growing the mission, and hosting some virtual events this year. And, just again, sharing the mission with people. And we find that when you really focus on building those relationships, and sharing the mission, you're able to grow what I call like an inclusion web. It just share, it's that grassroots effort, and like I tell this person, they tell the next person, they invite this person to hear about the mission, and then it grows, and then you build from there. You're laying your foundation, and you're building the relationships. You're getting the community involved. You're bringing such a positive message to the community, especially in times today. Everyone's looking for something positive, something to focus on the good and the happy. And seeing a student who was normally sitting alone at lunch all of a sudden have friends, and they're not sitting alone, or someone that has an ability and they're hired by a bank because they've got incredible gifts and talents, but even though they have a disability, we're able to show, look, this is their ability. Let's not focus on the disability. Let's focus on the ability, what they can do. And that type of positive interaction with the community is just well received. So going into the community and finding the volunteers and the connections and the participants and their families, and knowing that you can change an entire community, one person, one school, one job and employer at a time, it's really powerful. It's very inspiring. So that part was easy. It was just really getting everyone to kind of rally together and build a movement, and raise funds. Obviously, we all know that nonprofits and 501(c)(3)s, we have to survive by fundraising. And that is, I think, my greatest strength, and my skill is where taking the mission and always leading with the mission first, and then getting the support through the community and the relationships built to fundraise just lets everything, flow together and thrive.
So what does that look like for someone that they have their nonprofit and they want to branch out into the state? What does the step-by-step look like? Do they just show up with a sign on the side of the road saying looking for support? Do they contact organizations? Do you guys have organizations that you regularly go through to interact and meet people? What does that look like?
Well, again, Best Buddies is global, so it's not too difficult. I mean, Best Buddies is a sister organization of Special Olympics. There's definitely some connection of branding and marketing there. I would recommend to nonprofits that are looking to branch out into other states. Again, my motto has always been lead with your mission first. So what does that look like with your mission? Do you have connections in those states for your products and services? And honestly, I would recommend consulting with someone that can actually kind of lead the way and go in first and kind of do the research and make sure, is this where you need to be? Is the desire for the services and the products that you're offering as an organization, is that there? Is the need there? I mean, even with Best Buddies, we have states that aren't as fluent as other states. Maybe the population isn't as large, or the IDD population isn't as large, and the economic status is different in different states. So all of those things need to be taken into consideration before you just go into a state and say, okay, hey, I'm here, let's open an office. I think just like any business, you kind of need to do your research and understand like the entire business model, and set out a business plan and a strategic plan and model, before you just kind of like show up with your sign. I mean, a sign is awesome too, but I think it's I think it's good to really have a strategic and a solid business plan in place.
I'm just picturing the sign like has nonprofit, will take your money.
Right?
I don't know.
We're here. We're here.
We're here now accepting donations. What do you do? Well, we haven't really figured that out yet, but we'll definitely take your money. No, that's good. I'm glad that you got to expand it, especially with a mission that's so powerful as helping people with IDD actually be heard and get friendships and grow into jobs and business. I've got a handful of friends and my wife's uncle with the same conditions, and really they're just like people, just like everybody else, trying to make it and do good things in the world.
It's
But
so true.
you have changed some of your skill set throughout, and you actually became a licensed auctioneer. Like, why do that? Why is that helpful?
It's so funny whenever I'm on a call or in a meeting and do my introduction and I share that, it always gets a little chuckle. Like everyone kind of looks and laughs a little bit. Just, I'm a licensed auctioneer. And then of course the first question everyone asks is like, oh, can you do the call? Can you talk fast and all of these things? But that's not why I decided to become a licensed auctioneer. And I do think that it's pretty inspirational that there's not a lot of female auctioneers around the country or even here in Florida where I'm based. But I became a licensed auctioneer really for the nonprofit sector. So my specialty as an auctioneer is to be a fundraising and benefit auctioneer. So again, I truly believe that all nonprofits and organizations can really elevate their revenue and enhance and grow their mission. And a lot of that is through events. And I think that having a licensed auctioneer and MC at your fundraising events, an auctioneer who is also a fundraising consultant, and someone who's really spent the time to get to know you, your mission, your donors, your participants, your entire demographic, and truly knows and feels and understands your mission, that is someone who can really steer the ship of that event and really get to connect with the people in the audience and help you from A to Z, start to finish, put on a phenomenal event, help you with the crafting of the show flow of the event, the timing, as well as also help you build your auction, build a silent auction, build a live auction, and also, offer a bid from the heart, which is a great opportunity at an event for organizations to raise money to help support their mission and their services. So that's why I became a licensed auctioneer. And I'm really excited now because, listen, our times are changing. We know that there's been this word used all year, this pivot, right? We've all had to pivot. We've all had to kind of change directions, be creative, think outside of the box. And it's quite interesting because, as a licensed auctioneer, and my auctioneer team that I belong to here in Tampa, Florida is Alpert Enterprises. We are all learning together, as well as all other licensed auctioneers around the country, how do we take these events and make them virtual? Because we're not all able to be in the room together right now, 300, 400, 500 people, and share gala experiences or event experiences together. So nonprofits still need to thrive and survive. And to do that, they still need to raise money for their mission so they can be who they are meant to be and serve the people that they're serving. So it's really fun to be able to work with different organizations and turn their events that were going to be in person into a really fun, engaging, and successful virtual fundraising event. So having a lot of fun with that.
Oh, I mean, it sounds like it. Sounds like you've got a lot going on and having quite a bit of success with it. What is the coolest thing that you've ever got to auction off?
Well, I'm a big travel person, and I haven't had the opportunity to take this trip yet, but we have this really awesome package it's a safari in
Mhm.
Africa, and it is awesome. And so I think that's really fun to auction that off. And, the experience that it's provided to people that I know who have gone, it's incredible. So I think, like, again, just being able to do something and offer that and raise a lot of money for the nonprofit and for the organization, and be able to see the look on the family's face, like when they go and then they come back and they're taking 2 safaris a day. And that's pretty incredible. I mean, I'm sure there's been some other like really interesting things. There's also, there's autographed memorabilia and, just different things. But I'm a big vacation person, so I love when I can auction that off.
There's nothing wrong with loving travel. I think travel is something that in America we've kind of taken for granted. We call it a vacation, and we go to either relax or just cut loose. And travel has historically been part of the learning and growth process. to go learn about a culture, experience new things like going on a safari, or going into the pyramids and going down and seeing the cultural differences and why it happened the way it happened, and what that means and how that fits into our world. And travel's been vital for so many generations that it's weird that in America, I mean, it's just like, hey, we're going to Disney World or we're going to the beach, and it has no real cultural significance other than we need to breathe. So that's pretty interesting.
It's fun. Great memories for
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, you mentioned all these events you're doing. Do you buy into the fact that of event insurance for these things?
Then an event, I'm sorry, you broke up a
Event
little bit.
insurance. Do you get
That
insurance for your events?
for the auctioneer or for the nonprofit?
Nonprofit fundraising, raising events, things of that nature. We've got things that are scheduled and canceled now all the time, and people put a lot of money into their events. Do you recommend people get event insurance?
I mean, I've heard like both sides of the story. I've heard some that have the insurance, and depending on their insurance, it doesn't always work out for them. But I've also heard those that do. And, again, I feel like in the experience that I'm having right now in the virtual world, and from the auctioneer perspective and also from the consultant perspective, I'm recommending that everyone move forward, like keep moving forward, keep one step in front of the other. And yes, if your event has to be canceled, what are some of the different options? Like, how can we pivot to continue to raise the funds needed for your revenue and for your success for the year? And I think that that's important for twofold. One, obviously for the revenue, but also for the mission itself, right? I think that if you have an event, and even if you have insurance and you cancel it and everything works out well, but how did you grow your mission that year? How did you increase your visibility of the services and the incredible opportunities that your mission provides, right? How did that, how are you really going to embrace that? So insurance, if you have it and you use it and it works, great. But then you really need to think about, how do you transition your mission, right? Transition the mission is really a big focus of mine that I've been working with other nonprofits, and especially Best Buddies, is, how do you take what you offer and transition that to fit the times we're in and still continue to move forward as an organization? So for example, with Best Buddies, they create friendships. So middle schools, high schools, colleges, one-to-one friendships between a student with a disability and a student without. They're matched, they meet, they form genuine friendships. So during this time of virtual world and quarantine and pandemic, what happens to these social friendships and these relationships? How do we transition that mission so that we can have friendships still happening, so that social distancing does not mean social isolation for our friends with intellectual and developmental disabilities? Well, we have to go virtual, right? So we're finding ways to take our programs and do virtual friendships and virtual leadership training and virtual job and employment and skills training. And so I'm encouraging all organizations, and I'm kind of consulting and coaching with them. What is your mission, and how can we pivot it and still be able to take that mission and offer it virtually to keep your mission alive? Because, and I know you and I have talked about this too, if you look back in the days in the organizations in the 2008 when there was crisis, and those organizations didn't fundraise and didn't progress and advance their mission, they're not here anymore. So I guess that's a long answer to that question, but I'm really passionate about helping nonprofits and organizations transition their mission virtually, really focusing on a fundraising world. How do we fundraise and stay alive during this time? How can you steer your virtual ships, stewardship, partnerships, friendships, relationships to help with your revenue? And really, how do you transition a successful virtual event from an in-person event? So those are the things that I'm really passionate about and working with organizations on.
In all the events that you've done, either in person or online, what are the elements to a successful event in your opinion?
Well, virtual is going to be a little different than in person. Right now, we're coaching and sharing and working with organizations that there's three key elements for a virtual event. And what that is a great AV and production company to help you stream and have the cameras and the AV and the sound and everything that you need to go virtual. You need a mobile bidding company to help you mobilely be able to accept money, highlight your silent auction, highlight your live auction. If you're going to do a bid from the heart, collect the money in that regard. And then third, someone to steer the ship and kind of line it up and present it. Virtual events are an hour or less. The successful ones are an hour or less. You're getting your mission out there, you're having your auctions and, doing fun and engaging things, but in an hour or less. So to have that auctioneer and MC to kind of steer the event. Now, all this in mind, in person as well, which some events this year will be what we're calling a morphed event, which will be some people might be able to join in person, but they will still have a virtual concept and a virtual piece to the event. But overall, I would say the answer is in all of that, to have a successful event, you have to have your mission present, forefront all the time. You got to have relationships to develop that and bring people into the forefront. You got to have fun. And then obviously you got to fundraise. So to me, that would be the four key concepts.
Got to have fun. As you say, you include fun things at your events. What kind of fun things? I know there's some listeners out there that have done an event and they did all right or not all right, and they're not sure like what kind of areas they can let loose in, what fun might look like in an event.
Oh, wow. Obviously in person and virtual again, like we're kind of coming up with different ways virtually to have fun and kind of making that pivot. But there's always fun ways to just engage your donors. There's different raffles and different contests and different drawings you can do. We do a game called Last Man Standing with our Bid from the Heart. And so with a Bid from the Heart, you start at a higher number and you decrease. And Bid from the Heart basically is saying to your attendees and your donors and your friends and family, listen, you're going to leave tonight with a gift in your heart, knowing that you've helped support the mission of blank, and that you are not going to leave with a trip to Africa or a spa day or an awesome wine basket, but you're going to leave with a gift in your heart knowing that you've made a difference, that you've supported this organization, and you start with a number and you go down. And so when you get to the $100 mark, it's really fun to say, hey, ladies and gentlemen, listen, $100 is a night out on the town for maybe you and your significant other or you and a friend. So for $100, we're going to play a game. We're going to play a game that you could walk away with a fun gift at the end. And we have a gift, kind of prepared, a fun gift. Maybe it's a staycation or airline tickets. But the way it works, it's the last person that bids $100 wins the prize. And the more you bid, obviously you pay $100 each time. But then at the end, it's the last person. And so it's up to the auctioneer or the MC to kind of say, okay, 30 seconds. And then people raise their paddle or they'll go on their mobile bidding device. And we're watching the screen virtually. And we see, oh, no, Don Smith just donated $100. He beat out Mary. Like, she's not the last one. And so it just keeps going. It's very fun. And it helps the organization raise a lot of money. I know once in Minnesota, when I did that event, our last man standing raised close to $12,000 at $100 a pop. So it was fun.
That's like 120 bids. Geez.
Yeah.
Well, that's got to be a lot of fun. It sounds like you not only have had great success, but you really enjoy what you're doing. And I think that makes all the difference in the world. Tell me, where can people get a hold of you?
Sure. People can get a hold of me at my Etavele Solutions website, which is www.etavelsolutions.com. And if you get confused on that, just type elevate backwards. So it's ETAVELE and then solutions.com. And also I will just do a little shout out that I'm going to be launching on July 13th. We're calling it a Nonprofit Professionals Virtual or Bust Training Cohort. And we're getting nonprofit professionals from around the world to join us for a 4-week session. And we're going to talk about all of those key virtual concepts that I talked a little bit about. It's going to be designed for nonprofit professionals who want to learn and explore ideas and share, gain resources on fundraising, event transition, and mission advancement facing our industry. And what I'm really excited about is that it will bring together a collaborative group of nonprofit professionals to really community build, to really build our community. One of the things we're going to offer with this is we're going to offer breakout rooms, so that we're going to divide the groups into 5 each, and it will really create a networking and peer-to-peer opportunity to have discussion on the topic, of course, for that week, but also kind of get to know each other and share and collaborate together, building that team community piece. So I'm excited to launch that, and you'll be able to find that on my website. But yeah, I really do love what I do, and I'm really passionate about building relationships and helping elevate nonprofits, their revenue, their events, engage their boards, and even grow into new markets. I've had so much success and a really great fun opportunity time to grow Best Buddies throughout 22 states. And I'm totally open to helping other organizations elevate and grow their mission as well. And I'm very excited to do that. So,
Well, thanks again, Vallye. It's been an absolute pleasure.
thank you, Travis. It's been fantastic.
That's it. That's how we podcast.
Well, that was easy. Gosh, I could do that all day.
You can. You absolutely can do that all day.
Wow, that was fun.
Yeah.
Really fun.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's part of it. That's part of the experience.
Yeah. You think I did okay? Was it good?
I think you did okay. I was trying to drive you to like the very the no kidding bare bones steps to launching in a new state. Like first you got to do A, then you got to do B, then you got to do C.
Yeah. I mean, for Best Buddies, like all of the licenses and all of that specific as far as, applying for 501(c)(3) and all of that, like that isn't anything that I had to do with them. I mean, for me, mine would be more of going into a state and saying, okay, this is your mission, doing some research, understanding that, this area would support it or it wouldn't, and also finding people in that state or community that either resonate with the mission or not. So I think I don't really.
How do you find those people?
Like, I guess just relationships and connections and talking with people.
Right. What does that look like? Do you reach out to your list of people that happen to be in that state? Do you go to Rotary clubs? Do you talk to schools? Do you talk to who do you talk to specifically to make this happen?
Well, and see, with Best
relationships
Buddies,
isn't an answer that gives someone that isn't what they're doing a step to do.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, and I guess we do that. So chambers of commerce, schools, especially schools with Best Buddies, because the schools that have like the ESE programs. So like the schools, the Chamber of Commerce, I do spend a lot of time on LinkedIn and like search for people that either have connections to the IDD community or they list themselves as an alumni of Best Buddies. Best Buddies has been around 30 years. So if they were connected to Best Buddies.
Exactly it.
Oh.
This is exactly what I was looking for. Can you do me a huge favor and create a PDF that talks about this?
Yeah.
And I'll put it on the show notes, right? So people can download it, and I'll put it on my page. And feel free to brand that up with Etavele Solutions, right? This is your thing. And then when you create it, now you have something that you can offer as a free PDF. So when you go to talk to another podcast, because I know you're going to do it again, right? Now you can mention it and be like, hey, special, to your listeners, we're going to have this free PDF available, right? to
Okay.
download this stuff. And then
You think that's helpful? Just like what I was saying, like just,
yes,
oh,
absolutely.
okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
People, they literally have no idea. The person I talked to earlier, they literally, it's a husband and wife, and the wife's sister is the board, and they have this idea and they're running with it. So they don't know
Yeah,
how
I
to
mean,
do.
and again, like Best Buddies, because of the size, like they just put out, they created a website or a web page for each state in the expansion division, and created an email that said expansion at Best Buddies, Oklahoma, Kentucky, and then when people would click on it, it would get sent to the main office, and then it would get sent to me. So then I would do cold
Write
outreach.
that down. Write that
Okay.
down. As an email campaign to your end user, right? The school system, generally speaking, right? And
Just
then
anyone. It would just be anyone that wanted to, like, that went to that web page and had
anyone is
interest in
not
that
an answer
state.
that's helpful.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, who do you help? I help everyone. Well, I can't think of everyone. But if I
Well,
can,
I'm just saying what it said is, like, if you're interested in hearing more about Best Buddies in Oklahoma, then email or, fill out this form and then someone will contact you. So it could be
Mhm.
you,
it
it
can be
could
something
be
like
a
that. So then, like,
donor.
for use for Edavale, right? You have a pop up on your website that comes up like, "Hey, hop on our emailing list, and you'll get this
Yes.
free how to expand your nonprofit to different states as this free guide in exchange for an email." Then you grow your email list while you're giving it away.
Okay.
I want you to be
Okay.
successful too, Valley.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm all about collaboration and I appreciate your support. I will. I'll create this PDF, and I mean, definitely, like, let me know. Review it if it's what you're looking for, what you think would be helpful for the viewers and for anyone in general. And yeah, because I mean, I have all kinds of things about fundraising and event planning and now virtual, and I don't have anything that really defines a specific step-by-step process of how to expand. And I think just because it's a little bit different for every organization, but I'll be
Right.
specific and not say
Right. Yeah.
anyone, but I'll be
Well, I mean, the step might say reach out to your network, right? And then you can say examples of your network would be people on your email list, people on the same type of things you connected to here. If you're connected through schools in this state, you might reach out to schools in other states. Here's a person in that organization you might try to connect with. You might try the superintendent, you might try the principal, you might talk to the special needs teacher, right?
right.
Right. So what that might look like. So you give them the general,
Mm-hmm.
then you provide what that
Give
might look
examples.
like, and you give a specific example of how you used it. And the three of those combined give someone the steps that they can take to be successful. Because you should have guides for expansion, you should have guides to in person auctions and digital auctions. You should have all of those PDFs available for download.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
No problem.
Work on that.
Well, it's not going to be next week, but it's going to be the 23rd. Your episode will come out.
Okay.
So I got to have it so I can review it. And if I can feed it back to you with any edits or ideas,
Okay.
lady, take them or leave them, and then
Yeah.
finalize the PDF and send it back.
No,
And
I mean, I'll get this to you next, like, probably Monday or Tuesday. I'll work on it and get it
okay.
to you. And then, yeah, like, once you, if it's the 23rd, then, and like, I'll promote it out to my network and put it on the website and Etavele and LinkedIn and all of those places. I'll share it. So
Yeah, and if you're talking about the farming through LinkedIn or Facebook to find contacts, that's an important step.
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I just think, like, how would you not know that?
Well, how does a college professor talk to a freshman? They have to
Yeah.
use words that make sense to them. If I explain to you how a resistor works in a electronic circuit, I might be able to say volts, ohms, amps. I might be able to say that to you, right? But if I'm talking to a room of 30 people, how many of those people understand what I'm talking about?
Right. Right.
But now if I describe it using water flowing through a garden hose, I bet you everyone can understand that.
Right. You're like painting a picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, like that's part of my excitement with the new business and everything is that I really realized, and I mean, maybe I was a little naive with just Best Buddies, but there's so many nonprofits out there that just need this support,
Yeah,
and
this is a startup nonprofit podcast. This is a group of people that no one's talking to. They're all talking to other organizations that are like Best Buddies that are Fortune 500 nonprofits.
yeah, yeah,
No one's saying this is how you talk to a school district. This is what it might look like to speak at a Rotary Club. This is, no one's saying that shit on their nonprofit podcast. I listened to a handful of them and they got good content if you're established.
yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you go through your board committees and this and that, and blah 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 blah, and they're like, hey, hold up, what is a board committee? Why do I need one? And how is that more helpful than my board?
It's so true. I just had a call with an organization. They're doing their event. And so I'm going to be the auctioneer, and they're doing their event in October. It's called Inspire Equine, and it's working with horses to help those with disabilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's local here in Florida. And the conversation was, they were like, well, should we have committees, or what's a committee? Like, how do you really build a committee, and what would we have the committee do? And how does that help our fundraising? And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, wow, like, and I was there as like the auctioneer, so I can't, like, I was like, wow,
But you can.
let me make some just like consulting suggestions, because I could really help you elevate this event and just understand like how to grow your board and how to grow your committees and what committees you should have. Like, and they were like, well, we really don't have a sponsorship committee. And I was like, what? what? What do you mean you have a sponsorship committee?
There's formation boards, developing boards, and then established boards. So you're dealing with a formation board.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and just even with events, like people don't really, a lot of organizations don't understand how to really build an event. I think like, and this is where I've helped Best Buddies, is how to get the volunteers that they have to come together and build the event and raise the
volunteers
money.
they have. So how do you help people get volunteers? Period.
Gotcha.
See the difference there? And it's not that you are, saying anything wrong or incorrectly.
Yeah.
But knowing where you're talking to, right? If I go into a room of engineers, professional engineers, there's certain language I'm going to be able to use, and there's a baseline knowledge, right? If I go into a conference of business people, there's a difference between someone that's thinking about a business, someone that's starting a business, someone that has a small business, someone that has a B Corp that gives, someone that has a nonprofit, someone that has a mega corporation, or something like Walmart, right? All those people might be in the same room. So how do I reach all of those people?
Right. Yeah. And see, I guess I didn't go into that angle. I mean, if you ever want to do another and talk about like that specific, like what we're doing right now in Louisiana and Kentucky, we're not doing it in Oklahoma, but we're doing virtual volunteer recruitment socials. So we're inviting people, we're finding like the 1 or 2 up to 5 people that know about us in that area, and their grassroots effort inviting 10 people to just join us on Zoom. And we do a raffle, and we do some sort of theme event. Like I know the one we had was Louisiana. We had like our mask.
So that would be very helpful for the podcast, right?
Yeah, and
then
in fact,
also defining what a raffle is. What's a raffle mean to you?
We had like swag for the the organization. Mm-hmm. And in this regard, when everyone joined in on Zoom, we put their name on a piece of paper, and we put it in a bowl, and we pulled it out, and that they won the prize that we were giving. So that was a
Was
way
there
to
any
do it.
money exchange? Was there a buy-in?
No,
Right. But
not
see
for a
how,
volunteer recruitment.
but you see the difference between just saying a raffle and then
Yeah,
describing what the raffle is?
right.
Yeah. It's a big difference because you're using, oh, what's it called? Technobabble or
Mm,
professional mumbo jumbo, right? You
yeah,
as an auctioneer are very familiar with all those ins and outs. But somebody you're
true.
describing these things to
Yeah.
doesn't know offhand what a raffle is. Is it a 50-50? Is it buy a ticket to get in? Is it walking through is it a door prize? What is a door prize really?
Right. And what is like, because I have that in the cohort, and also doing like show flows to give out to the other states on how to do this virtual recruitment social online. And I say like door prize. I'm like, is it really a door prize? Because it's online, it's virtual. It's not like they're not getting a ticket at the door. So yeah,
But
I
it
gotcha.
is, but it isn't, right? But it is a door prize.
Yeah,
You got to
yeah,
show up. You got to get through the door. It's a Zoom prize. You got to log into
yeah,
Zoom,
right. Yeah. Get
right?
through the Zoom door.
The
Got to
Zoom door,
be admitted into the Zoom call. That's true, right? But
right?
yeah, so there are ways to, and I guess again, it's just my mindset of I think of it as I go with each organization and whatever it is their needs are, what they're trying to accomplish. But like Best Buddies moving into Louisiana, we had this call last night and there was 20 people on Zoom, and we got like 3 new champions for our gala, which is a champion is someone that's going to help us fundraise and someone that's going to help spread the mission. And so just by having the call, we recruited people to be a part of the mission, and we got to share the mission. And you know what I mean? So that's how, I guess, if you had asked me like, oh, how do you find volunteers or how do you start an event where you have nothing? That's probably, I would be able to go along those
Yeah. Well, I was trying to do it with the expansion. You have nothing. Like you reach out to your network. What network? Who in your network? Why are they in
lines.
your
Yeah,
network? Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah. All those things. Oh, you bumped the mute button or something.
This PDF and send it to you. And maybe I'll even send you the PDF that I have of the cohort too, if you're willing to put that up.
Yeah.
Because it won't start till July 13th, and so we're going to do 4 weeks of what I told you, and then the following 4 weeks we're going to do only on virtual events. Like, so we're going to call it virtual event success defined. And so that's where we're going to have the mobile bidding companies, the production companies come on and talk to the nonprofit professionals. The auctioneers, I have different auctioneers from around the country talk to people, and talk about the show flow from A to Z of virtual events success defined. And so that will start in August and go through 4-week session in August. So
Cool.
I can send you those if you're interested.
Absolutely. I'm willing to take anything you give me.
Okay, awesome. Well, very good. Well, thank you again so much. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I promise to share it, and I'll send you the stuff, and let me know if you want to do anything else. If you have a target idea of anything that we've talked about and you really want me to just like focus on something specific, I'm
Mhm.
happy to do that. And yeah, we'll stay
Well,
in touch.
you did mention a couple of things, right? These online volunteer thing. That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm calling it a virtual volunteer recruitment event, or we're calling it a social, like, because we're trying to do it during like a happy hour or a social hour time.
Virtual
And
volunteer social is probably the best vernacular.
okay,
Um, one of those, interstate expansion, and then what your, I keep calling it a mastermind. You say cohort or whatever. What the cohort looks like and how that was set up. And then
okay.
for your business, and I mean, I'd be more than happy to share, but actually how to put together an event, an in-person event and an online event. these are the things that you're going to be able to do other podcasts and share these things.
Okay.
And that's going to bring more and more people in your network, into your funnel. And then pick one of these things that you're doing to have a pop-up on your website. Like, hey, sign up here and get the free guide to this. As you get,
Okay.
sound
I
good?
know I set up for the cohort. I'm calling it a cohort is only because that means just like kind of like we all learn together, we all share together, we're like collaboration, like coming together. I don't know if that's the best word, but it sounded good. But I did put like what?
When you tell people about this, do you have to explain what it is?
No,
Okay.
not yet. I mean, I just put it out there yesterday. Like, so I don't know, I'll let you know. But when
If
I'm
you're getting
explaining it to
a low
people,
response, if you're getting a low response, or a lot of people asking like, "What is that?" You might consider changing it to mastermind,
mastermind.
which everyone knows what that is.
Okay.
And if they don't,
Okay.
this is really easy to explain.
Well, so I put training and then cohort. So, and it says virtual or bust. Not that they'll understand that for sure, but I do explain it really well. I've got it on Eventbrite. So that's where I put it. That's why I'm launching it is on Eventbrite. People can go there and pay for it. I set up a code for like an early bird 20% discount. So there's that.
How much you charge?
Um, um, 279 for the 4-week course. And then again, like I'm going to do a bunch of like discount codes and stuff like that for people.
So I just got an invite to a paid mastermind. No kidding, just like an hour ago. And it was $349 for the entire year. That's 2 meetings a month.
Oh, wow. Okay. And it's for nonprofit professional?
This is for business stuff. But just so you know, actually, let me copy this and send it to you so you can see it.
Okay. Well, the other thing too, yeah, send it to me. I'd love to look at it. I mean, the other thing that we're offering with this too is that, I mean, I'm offering to do an hour of consulting with the organization before the cohort and an hour after. And
Oh,
then,
then
obviously,
you're charging far too little.
I mean, my normal rate is 250 an hour. So
It's not very much.
for consulting,
Yeah.
but I don't think anyone's going to do it right now.
Your call. I charge 10 times what you charge, and I have
For
clients.
consulting? Really?
Yeah, I don't charge by the hour either.
Well, I mean, that's just like calls. So like I have a package of calls set up. So it's 250 for one or 1,000 for 5 calls. And then I have event rescue. So like if an organization needs me to go in and like help with an event, get sponsors, get people in the seats, needs help with their show flow, needs help with an auction, there's like an event rescue thing based on their revenue and whatever. And then there's an expansion, like a monthly fee for like expansion, which is like everything like ground up. But um, but yeah, so at least like with the cohort, like I thought for 279, like if they're getting 2 hours of coaching, consulting to help, as I worded it, was like to put their playbook together and put it into action. Plus the 4 weeks of the cohort, meeting other people, talking about all of these events, having the event resources. I don't know. I guess I thought it was a good rate. You don't think so? 279 seems high, or
I'm
not?
just
The
letting you
coaching.
know
Yeah,
what the one I got offered today was.
yeah. And so it's actual. Well, you can send it to me. I'll look at it. But
It's already in
that's
your Facebook Messenger. I gotta
awesome. Thank
run.
you.
This is
Okay.
great. I'll
Thank
let
you.
you know.
I'll talk to you soon.
No problem.
Bye.
Bye.